Pay is one of the most important parts of any job, and even though most people have a really tough time talking about this subject, understanding what you're getting into from a compensation perspective is an extremely important part of choosing a career path. And when it comes to pay, real estate doesn't operate like a lot of other industries out there, and choosing to pursue different parts of the business can result in very different income trajectories throughout your career. So knowing how the game is played up front and making decisions with that in mind can help make sure you're maximizing your pay levels at every step of the process. So to share some of the inside information that I only learned from years of running informational interviews, going to networking events, working in the industry myself, and now coaching job seekers through this process, in this video, I want to share 4 things about real estate pay that I wish I knew before getting into this business, and some things that you can do at the start of your career to help you make the most money possible with the fewest number of detours. So the first thing to note when getting into commercial real estate, especially if you're coming from a different industry altogether, is that all-in pay levels tend to be heavily dependent on bonuses, even for entry-level roles. At the analyst level, it's not uncommon to see bonuses of 15 to 20% of base salary. At the associate level, it's not uncommon to see bonuses of 25 to 40% of base pay. And for more senior level roles where you'll be responsible for deal sourcing or capital raising, bonuses of 50 to 100% of base salary or more are extremely common in commercial real estate. And as a general rule of thumb here, the closer you are to transactions directly, the higher your bonus percentage is usually going to be, with analyst roles in investment sales or debt and equity placement often having the highest bonus numbers by far, acquisitions analysts usually seeing the next highest bonus percentages, and analyst roles in industry disciplines like asset management, portfolio management, and other operations focused positions usually seeing significantly lower bonus percentages than their industry peers. The important thing to take away here is that you shouldn't take a base salary number at face value in commercial real estate, and just because you see a base pay figure that may have been lower than you would have hoped for on a job posting or from a recruiter, bonus percentages can often significantly increase your all-in compensation within a real estate role. Now, the second thing to note about commercial real estate pay that I had no idea about before entering the industry is how much money brokers can make, especially those working with institutional clients. When I was first exploring career paths in commercial real estate and started talking about pay with people who had been in the industry for a while, I could not believe some of the numbers I was hearing when talking to mid-level producers in their late 20s and early 30s making $400,000 to $600,000 per year, and top producers in the industry working with major institutions and private equity firms making over 7 figures annually in take-home pay. These kinds of numbers, especially in your 20s and early 30s, are almost unheard of in industry disciplines like portfolio management, asset management, and even in most cases, acquisitions. And if you plan to work for a company on the principal side of the business and don't decide to strike out on your own, it's extremely unlikely that you'll be able to hit these kinds of numbers. Now, obviously, there is survivorship bias here, and not everyone is cut out to be a broker or wants to be a broker in the first place, but landing a role on an institutional capital markets team, working in investment sales or debt and equity placement at a company like CBRE, JLL, Eastdil, Cushman, Newmark, or any other major brokerage firm that works with high-profile clients will usually put you on a very direct path towards making a lot of money very early on in your career. Now, another thing to think about, which is especially important if you're just graduating from undergrad or grad school and you're not tied down to a specific city yet, is that real estate pay can be heavily dependent on location and will often vary significantly between geographic markets. Differences in compensation packages at the analyst and associate levels between primary, secondary, and tertiary markets can be huge, and this is definitely something to think about if you're flexible on location and looking to maximize your income. pay levels in markets like New York, San Francisco, and LA can often be 50 to 75% higher than pay levels for similar roles in smaller markets across the country, and this is even more true if you're working in a position that's heavily focused directly on the purchase or sale of commercial real estate properties. Markets like these have some of the most expensive real estate in the US, and if your company's generating revenue based on a percentage of the transaction volume that they do, this usually results in a lot more fee, commission, and promoted interest income to go around when you're working on deals with much higher price tags. And speaking of fees and promoted interest, the last point I want to make about pay in this video is that direct participation in a percentage of fee and promote dollars can become a significant portion of your total compensation as you move into more senior level roles, but vesting schedules are really important to understand before entering into a long-term agreement. Direct fee participation tends to be pretty rare at the analyst and associate level, and even though these will almost always factor into whether or not you get your full bonus at the end of the year, you're usually not going to have a cut and dry agreement that entitles you to a certain percentage of each dollar the company earns. However, these types of agreements do tend to materialize more quickly at smaller companies and can often start to come into play just 5 to 7 years into your career at the manager or VP level, but when these are offered, these also usually come with a long-term commitment. Many of these agreements will include multi-year vesting schedules that require you to stay at the company for anywhere from about 3 to 7 years, and if you end up leaving before that time to pursue an opportunity at a different company or to start your own firm, in many cases, some or all of this income could be wiped out entirely. Deal life cycles in commercial real estate usually fall somewhere between that 3 to 7 year time frame, so these mechanisms are in place to make sure you stick around and contribute until property is sold, and deal performance can actually be measured, but 3 to 7 years is also a very long time in the context of your career. All of this is to say that even though these types of arrangements can often feel like best case scenarios, you want to make sure you're being careful about the company and the specific individuals that you're choosing to partner with over the long term. I've talked to a lot of people who have been burned really badly in these types of structures, either losing hundreds of thousands of dollars by leaving a year or two before their vesting period was up, missing out on other potentially life-changing career opportunities because of the income they would have to forfeit, or just feeling stuck in a tough work situation overall with people they don't want to work with long term. And if this is something you want to pursue with another company that's not your own, just make sure you're crystal clear on the agreement between you and your employer, and that you know that you want to build your career at this firm for the foreseeable future. At the end of the day, we all work to make money, and these are some of the lessons that I've learned after being around this industry over the past 10 plus years that are really important when choosing a part of the industry to focus on, choosing a company to work for, or even choosing whether or not you want to get into this industry in the first place. And if you are set on real estate being the right path for you, and you want to make sure you have all the skills you'll need to land an analyst or associate role at a top real estate firm, as always, make sure to check out our all-in-one membership training platform, Breaking the CRE Academy. A membership to the Academy will give you instant access to over 120 hours of video training on real estate financial modeling and analysis. You've got access to hundreds of practice Excel interview exam questions, sample acquisition case studies, and you'll also get access to the Breaking the CRE Analyst Certification Exam, which covers topics like real estate pro forma and development modeling, commercial real estate lease modeling, equity waterfall modeling, and many other real estate financial analysis concepts that will help you prove to employers that you have what it takes to tackle the responsibilities of an analyst or associate at a top real estate firm. And if you like this video and want to see more content on commercial real estate pay structures, make sure to hit the like button to let me know, and let me know in the comments any other pay-related subjects that you'd like to see covered in a future video on the channel. As always, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you found this helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to see more videos like this every single week, and I'll see you in the next video.